above. Gee, it's great to be alive and love. Good morning, sun.
And good morning. Happy Friday. Little coffee on audio check. And I think we have audio. Fingers crossed. I'll try not to touch anything. Well, this morning's coffee is Banana Espresso from a company called Flatlands Coffee in Bowling Green, Ohio. And holy cow, this stuff is like, it says notes of black cherry, brown sugar, raisin, and chocolate. I don't know that I can relate to any of that, but wow, it is some bright, juicy, floral, fruity coffee. Wild. Very good. Okay, so what is on the agenda today, July 26th? Ask questions. What's on your mind? What are you working on in Business Central? What are you learning? I am constantly learning stuff, something left and right. And hold up, let me get rid of some apps because I think they might be blaring into. How do I turn all these apps off? Like, it's not loaded, so I don't know how to quit it. So anyway, apologize if the beeping comes through in the audio. What was I talking about? What are you learning? I am just constantly learning dozens and dozens of things throughout the week. Little things, larger things, like on a daily basis, I'll learn about a feature and then I'll kind of research something and then I'll know that I need to improve my knowledge of a particular, area of Business Central, or I need to work on proposals, or I need to work with our developer to improve our internal dev processes. Like, what are you working on? Send a note or chat or whatever it's called. So last weekend, I was still recovering. I was on the mend, but I was just wiped out. And so I literally spent 2 days on the sofa just wiped out recovering. But this week, I think I'm improving. And I watched 2 TV series. One was, I think these are on Netflix. One was called Killing Eve, with the woman from Grey's Anatomy. So it's kind of wild seeing her. I mean, it's probably been quite a few years since she was in Grey's Anatomy. Kind of wild to see her in this new series. And it was okay, intriguing at first. But the one problem with streaming that I'm noticing when you can binge watch multiple seasons is you just see the rapid decline in a series. You see the writing change, you see the focus become unfocused, or whatever you want to call it. And what a storyline or a show that had a very strong message or personality or focus starts to get scattered and random and just go in different directions, and things stop making sense. So it's kind of a bummer once you get past the first season. And then a little bit similar with Young Sheldon. I watched Big Bang Theory, which I really enjoyed, and then this was really entertaining first few seasons, but it really starts to drop off as they do the inevitable process of exploring the different characters and expanding the storyline, which I kind of get it, but it just kind of, I don't know, it starts to fade. You can feel the flavor of the show fade a little bit. And then the weekly project this week is to prep a couple of laptops for the interns at ERP Center of Excellence. Laptops in Berlin, El Salvador are challenging. They don't grow on trees there. You cannot go to a store and just go pick up a laptop. It is a significant amount of effort just to go to a nearby town that would have some options. It would be 3 hours each way to go to San Salvador to find some options, and the options will be limited, so it's pretty challenging. So I basically bring in Lenovo ThinkPads because that's what I know. I know how to service them, repair them. I understand the reliability, their tool sets, drivers, etc. So I picked up two X1 Carbon Gen 9 laptops off of eBay. And what is crazy is this one was literally unused. Maybe someone had turned it on at some point over the last 2 years. This is two and a half year old laptop. Unused. The stickers are still on the power button there. There's the sticker up on the webcam on the display at the top of the laptop. Literally unused. No fingerprints on the keyboard, not a scuff, nothing on the outside. Absolutely 100% brand new. And it was $559. Brand new, still under warranty, premier warranty by Lenovo, on site, next day support or service, and $559 for that. So this would be this is the 12th and 13th laptop I've purchased used on eBay. And it's fascinating experience to buy these and, kind of get them prepped. And I have the preferred vendors I buy from on eBay. They're all in great shape. I've had one very minor issue that I was able to fix by myself. A few of them have old worn batteries. $35, $40, you can buy a new battery, replace it with a little screwdriver. I've had one issue with one of them that did require a little more extensive repair. I sent it back to the seller. They repaired it, shipped it right back to me a week later. So now that I've got this routine, I mean, these laptops go for, I think they're in the minimum like $1,700 to $2,000 range, depending on what options you get, and $560 for literally unused laptop, still under warranty, works perfectly. So phenomenal value if you're willing to invest, the 30 minutes of shopping and 30 minutes or an hour to just do your own tests when it arrives to make sure everything works fine. But really great deal. And like I said, I've done over a dozen laptops now. On Monday, lunes, I was going to show, speaking of laptops, I'm going to get fancy here. How do I do this? Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to be purchasing a few more extra laptops for Berlin because, like I said, people travel to El Salvador with consumer grade laptops. Bad idea. They just do not last. Independent of El Salvador, the humidity, the rougher conditions, things happen, the rain. So a guy I know there, his keyboard just stopped working for his HP consumer laptop. The thing was useless. He tried to plug in an external keyboard, but there are only Spanish keyboards available. And so the key mappings are a little different. And it's just a nightmare to try to get it to work. So, yep, it's major hassle if you do not have hardcore bulletproof computers in El Salvador, especially out in Berlin, where you're 3 hours away, 2 to 3 hours away from anything. And you're not going to get these things serviced, right? So I'm looking at, for basically the community center loaner laptops, I'm looking at the ThinkPad T14, which I call the corporate battle tank. It is not the ultra portable. It is not the super lightweight. It is not the most expensive or fanciest, but it has everything integrated: HDMI, Ethernet, multiple ports, good performance, and it is just a solid, rock solid, tough, really durable laptop. So look at this. $419, $420 for the T14 Gen 2, 16 gigs of RAM, 512, which is all I ever need for laptop work in the Business Central realm, or even the people who borrow them at the community center. So There are several of these available, so I'm going to pick up 2 or 3 and take them on my next trip. And just great value and excellent condition. And I buy from this seller, It's Worth More. They do a great job of cleaning them up, refurbing them, testing them, and shipping them. So I've purchased a dozen laptops between them and one other seller. And Dell Latitude is probably another option, but I just happen to know Lenovo's process and their quirks and their serial numbers, their types, their parts, repair process, drivers, and all that. So that's what I stick with. But yeah, if you need a laptop, like for your kids, you're just an extra one around the house, a spare, a junker that you don't want to have to worry about, travel with, $420. You can't go wrong. If you want to get fancy with an extra one carbon, you could do $400 to $600. If you want a really new one with 2 to 3 year warranty left, you could go in the $600 to $700 range tops. But amazing values with eBay laptops here. Okay, so enough about laptops. Back onto Monday, lunes. I worked, had another meeting following up on a PTE statement of work. We do statements of work for PTEs all the time. They're usually kind of minor. They're kind of quirky, customer specific. And, we are actively looking to train a new internal developer just for PTEs, just because there is a constant stream of them. And so we're looking to kind of expand our capabilities there. In the Dynamics GP world, we really didn't do so many of them. I was essentially an independent developer and did customizations and integrations for Dynamics GP, and that kept me busy for years among multiple partners and customers. But now with just our customers, we are essentially constantly doing small PTEs simply because it is possible to do in Business Central. The tool set makes it possible, and it's much easier to do these small customizations for customers. And obviously, Business Central has the full dev stack. The tool set really makes it viable to develop and maintain these things. So also on Monday, Yun Chu had a blog post on hold up. Let me fix my animations. I did not do that. One moment. Animations. We're going to float in. Sorry, we're live. There we go. Okay, so Yun Chu on Monday had a blog post that I can relate to. And it is, sorry, this is a different one. I kind of spoiled that surprise. This one is a nice little one, but it's kind of weird. This one is show the user's display name in the top navigation bar when the user signed in. This is kind of handy where you can just see what your login is. I don't know that it's a huge deal, but it's just kind of nice to just see that confirmation, and particularly for partners who are logging into different environments. If you're doing accessing through Partner Center, things like that, this could come in handy. Now, a little bit weird about this is that it is not done directly through Business Central. You're going through, I believe it is Microsoft 365 Admin Center to change that at the org level. So it is a little bit peripheral to Business Central, but kind of handy. I can see the value there. So go check out Yoon's blog post. That is 53758, whatever that number means, but that will take you to that blog post. And as you already saw, this is Tonya. Hold up. Let me look it up. Here we go. Tanya has a blog post here, and this is Tanya Bricko-Meski. She is a Microsoft MVP now, I believe, or I can't keep track of who's MVP. I think of her as an MVP, and this is a series that she is doing, getting started for developing. Yes, she is an MVP. Sorry, I'm getting old. Getting started developing for BC, your first AL project. Now, if you've been around for a while, you will know that I have a YouTube series where I did live streams learning Business Central development from scratch, and that was based off of Christoph's BC development workbook for beginners. And so I am curious to see how this unfolds. This is her first post, July 22nd, 2024, where she just starts on the process of opening VS Code, create AL project, and she is connecting to a sandbox environment. So she is targeting the online, BC Online environment, which I think makes sense. Just kind of initially skip the whole Docker conversation. That is kind of brutal, but I would recommend eventually catching up with Docker. So this is a great blog series to keep an eye on if you are looking to learn Business Central development. So that is at bcdevnotebook.com from Tanya. And on Tuesday, martes, I did some Spanish practice because we had to juggle our class schedule. So a little more on that later. And I worked with the ERP Center of Excellence trainees on RDLC and configuration packages. So we are starting by building configuration packages for master records, customer, vendor, item, and migrating sample data from Dynamics GP to Business Central. So that is one of the exercises we're going through, and we'll eventually get to beginning balances, chart of accounts, trial balance, things like that, to do a full data migration GP to Business Central. And on Tuesday, not to be outdone with his Monday daily post, Yun Chu had another blog post, 53929, where he talked about the issue, which you may be familiar with. Why can't I sort, search, or filter certain fields on a list page? And I have encountered that. We have encountered that, my developer and I, when we did a custom list page. And I need to look into this further and look at the PTE that we did for a customer. Yoon's explanation in this example is that he demonstrated that when you do say a page extension for a list page and you add fields, he's demonstrating the symptom here with filtering, that the filtering doesn't necessarily work with certain fields. And in this case, if I scroll down, his explanation is that the particular field is a variable, not a real field in a table. And that may be one explanation. However, I believe we encountered a different scenario, and my recollection, it is when we combined two tables on a single list page. What I'll call, say, the base or main table for the list page, we could filter on those columns. However, the second table that we joined in, we could not filter on those columns of the joined or secondary table. And I need to look into that. I don't think we were using variables, but I need to check with my developer, review the code, and see how he did that. But we definitely could not filter any of the fields of the secondary table. And our workaround for that for the customer was to use analyze mode or analysis view or analyze view, whatever it's called these days, where you click on the little pivot symbol up in your action bar, and that apparently does a client-side filter. So when it pulls down the data, you have the option on the client side to filter on any column, and you can obviously group using analysis mode. So that was our workaround to deal with this issue. So if you can fix it in code, that would be the preferred method. But if you have a scenario like ours, where I recall we had a secondary table, we could not filter on any of those secondary table fields. Analysis view or analysis mode is the workaround that we found, and that did work for our customer. So Wednesday, miércoles, we released a custom BC Web API, We had a customer who wanted additional fields for the general ledger entries web API endpoint. And if you look at the exposed fields for the GP API, which is fairly common, it's kind of frustrating. The limited set of fields on BC Web APIs is very frustrating. And you're like, oh, that's probably an API. Either it's not an endpoint or the fields, there's only 6 out of 15 fields available. So we did a custom web API with the general ledger entries to expose 20 different fields. So part of that, I create a user guide, and we do version tracking, we do release notes, overview, installation, the custom API endpoints, we do the GET request, we do the GET response. So that's part of the standard documentation that I provide for a deployment. And this particular endpoint is going to be utilized through Power Automate. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but I did my work for the endpoint. And this is kind of an example of the documentation that I provide. I have explanations of how to build the URL or URI for these endpoints, tenant, environment, the custom portion of the API URL, and then the metadata for the custom endpoints. Unfortunately, I would love to have Swagger as part of Business Central, if you're familiar with that, but unfortunately, it's not available, so I have to document this. And it's harder for us to document, it's harder for the developers to consume, but maybe someday we'll get a functional Swagger. And moving on, educational opportunities. I've mentioned this at least twice before. Dmitry Katzin is doing 2 full-day workshops in Australia, August 26th, coming up in a couple weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, in August 20th in Sydney, 26th in Melbourne. If you're in the neighborhood of Australia, go check it out. Go to katzin.com/trainings. It'll be an awesome full-day workshop, Copilot development for Business Central. And if you're not familiar with centralq.ai, check it out. Awesome search engine. And upcoming events. We have coming up in just 7 days, we have Tech Bayanihan. And if I can move over to Studio 4, Tech Bayanihan 2024. And that is in Citadines Bay City, Manila, Philippines. And you have 7 days to get yourself over to Philippines. Go hang out. Go see Cecile. Go see, gosh, I forgot who else is here. Let's take a, oh, come on. There we go. Let's go to, we have Cecile, we have Christopher, we have Dor Drizzle Pablo. I do not know Abraham Ahmed or Santamil, but they are the organizers of this conference, brand new conference in the Philippines. So that's pretty cool. And it is a 2-day conference, and check out these fancy speakers. Oh, Eliza Benitez, very cool. Yeah, go check these people out. Looks like an action-packed conference in Philippines. Super cool to, launch that initiative. It's a crazy amount of work, so hats off to those presenters for making that happen. And coming up, Days of Knowledge Americas, September 12th through 14th in Atlanta, Georgia. I will not be there. Good morning, Christian. Guten Tag. I will not be at DOK Americas in Atlanta, Georgia, because it is just, for whatever reason, Atlanta is a nightmare for travel. I don't know if it's always been that way, but from Los Angeles to Atlanta, just the cost of flying there, there's always a connecting flight. No direct flights from Los Angeles to Atlanta these days due to the nightmare of airlines, plus the hotel. It's just great opportunity. It's not particularly expensive. It's actually a great value for the presentations and learning that you can get. So if you are more on the central or east coast area and you can get to Atlanta in a reasonable manner and you just want to pop down there, go check it out. Great opportunity to learn from some really good speakers in the Business Central space. And Summit North America is coming up in October. My flight and hotel is booked. I will be speaking with Silvio on, I believe we're doing analysis views for Business Central, quite a coincidence. So head on down to Summit North America, get registered, sign up. Directions EMEA 2024 call for speakers is still open. That's going to be in Vienna, Austria. And I don't think I'll be able to attend just because I am already overcommitted. But if you are interested in presenting, pick a topic, come up with some clever, interesting new idea, something that you think would be valuable, something that's been valuable for you, and give it a try. At least submit a session. Even if you don't get selected, go through the process of creating a session topic, submitting it, and see what that process is like. And even if you don't get selected, go ahead, do your session, like create it. Do a live stream, do a blog post, whatever. It is a great exercise to go through. So head on over to Sessionize to get that submitted. And the tool of the week is kind of random. As you know, I am learning Spanish, and I am not exactly a spring chicken, as they say, and I will look at words, I will study them, I'll say, great, I know how to say para tomar coca zero, and I'll say, great, I know that. 5 minutes later, I won't remember that. And so I realized, okay, this is not working, whatever my study method is. So I needed flashcards. That's like the only thing I could think of where I'm just repeating something over and over and over to drill it into the shrunken, worn out portion of my short-term memory to try and shove more information into my brain and have it stick for more than a day. So I asked around, I asked my kids what they've used for school, and my daughter recommended Quizlet, which was one of the top 3 options that I found online for a flashcard app. So I am using this tool called Quizlet. And what's kind of nice is I can take the Spanish phrases and English translations in a tab delimited or comma delimited format. It's really flexible, really good high-tech tool. You paste it in, and all of a sudden you have a whole bunch of flashcards. So very quick to just paste this stuff in, and instantly you have flashcards. You can go from Spanish to English. You can go from English to Spanish. It lets you flip the order, and it I don't know that it randomizes it. I need to find that. Currently, I think it's doing them all in order, but I'm sure it has a randomization feature. It's got every feature I can imagine. And what it does, very similar to, say, Duolingo or Babbel, it basically lets you do the flashcard. You'll see the English, you'll try the Spanish, see if you got it right, and you can send it left if you got it wrong, right if you got it right, or left if you want to continue to practice, and it tracks what you've done properly, what you need to work on. It manages your statistics, gives you progress. It's really this full-featured learning platform, and I'm only using the flashcard portion of it so far, but there's all sorts of other learning tools. So you see at the top there, there's learn, there's test, there's match. It does quizzes, so it'll say, hey, he prepared the breakfast, and it'll just give you a blank prompt where you have to type the Spanish. It has AI in loose quotes, right, that will automatically recognize what you're trying to learn and have suggestions. So pretty incredible tool. I'm just using the free one, obviously, because I'm cheap and just giving it a try, but it does have a paid subscription, which they are not shy about reminding you about that, hey, we have paid subscriptions, and constantly nagging you about that. But really, if you are looking to learn something, whether it's a language, Business Central, new features, terminology, quizzes, whatever, I don't know what other types of learning it lends itself to other than, say, a flashcard type Spanish, English, A-B exact match alternative. I don't know if it has screenshots or lessons or paragraphs, but really interesting platform that I'm using. So for Spanish, I think it's fascinating. And what I think I'm going to do is prepare the tab delimited list of sample data for Business Central for the ERP Center of Excellence. So a lot of the work that I did in training the students was terminology, lingo, vocabulary, chart of accounts, GL accounts, subledger, business process, purchase order, inventory receipt, receive but not invoice. So just a ton of terminology that is new to the students. And they'll say, yep, we understand that. And the next day they won't remember. And I get it. I can totally relate. So I think I'll prepare all of that in the file format that can be used with Quizlet. And they can just paste it in a Quizlet and they can have a way, easy, simple way to practice with flashcards. So really handy tool. If you have found any other interesting uses for it, let me know. But it's actually working well for me for Spanish and, just 5-10 minutes a day, and I can practice the lessons from the week, and it's helping me with my comprehension and recall. And on Thursday, jueves. Wow, that has some kick. That is some juicy coffee. I attended a cybersecurity webinar. And this one was by Black Hills Information Security, who I've mentioned numerous times. So I attend these when they're kind of relevant. Some are super obscure, super advanced, really hardcore stuff that just I can't relate to. But this one is Cybersecurity Small Business Edition. And this woman did a good job of just summarizing the challenges that small businesses have. And it wasn't earth-shattering for me. I've attended these before, but let me see if webinars, webcasts, I'm just checking their website. They do post these on YouTube, but pretty much common messages that I'm seeing for webinars and cybersecurity recommendations for small business. It's about a disaster recovery plan, business continuity plan, a technology inventory, everything from your firewall to all your endpoints, contact lists, emergency protocols, which I get it. Small businesses will say, well, what tool do I buy? What tool do I use? And the resounding, consistent message from cybersecurity professionals is not about the specific tools or technologies. It is very much around the policies, the procedures, the action plan, the recovery procedures, the contact list, the insurance policies, because your chance of preventing the incident is very low and you need to prepare for the contingency. So, but understandably, most small businesses just can't digest that and they don't do it. Just like, eating right, exercising daily, practicing your Spanish lessons. That's the hard part. People are looking for the quick fix. So that is a webinar that I just had this week with Black Hills Information Security. So if you are at all interested in cybersecurity, learning more, whether it's just as a hobby or for your organization, blackhillsinfosec.com and their related organization, anti-siphontraining.com. Both fantastic organizations to help you get started. They do a lot of beginner intro content and they offer services as well. And a project I am continuing to work on is working with TechFluent Academy. I signed up to volunteer as I would say a candidate interview. So people who have attended their foundation series of TechFluent, kind of their introductory program to get started and get oriented with what TechFluent offers and all the Microsoft technologies and career paths. I am interviewing those candidates who graduated from the foundation series and are looking to move on to the phase 2 actual training, 6 to 10 weeks, something like that. And I have had 2 interviews this week that were amazing. Really just phenomenal candidates coming out of the TechFluent program. Highly motivated, really diverse, amazing stories of these people. Great candidates if you're looking to hire newly trained junior consultants. And one conversation that I had yesterday was mind-blowing. It is a person who is a chartered accountant, worked as a chartered accountant with one of the big 4 audit firms in their other home country. And they are now in the US and looking to retool because if you're familiar with how things work internationally, you could have a PhD, an MD equivalent. You could have a bachelor's or master's equivalent in whatever foreign country they are from, whenever that person comes to another country, whether it's the US or Europe or whatever, there is often no way to translate their education, certification, degrees, professional experience into, say, the US. And as a result, they get literally zero credit for all, or recognition for all of the professional certifications, degrees, and experience they had in their home country. And they're starting from scratch. And it is mind-blowing that organizations are ignoring that level of talent. So this person is a chartered accountant, I believe is the term from their country, knew how to audit an organization, how to read financial statements, how to assess the reservation for bad debt, how to do revenue recognition, fixed asset depreciation. Just nailing all of the financial and business process elements. Amazing set of knowledge, background of knowledge there. Looking to move into Business Central. If you are looking for a very strong, hardcore, financial-oriented Business Central consultant, hit me up and I will connect you with this candidate. They are looking to learn Business Central, highly motivated, ambitious, really amazing. And I will be staying in contact with the candidate and seeing how they progress and whether we could potentially hire them, or I will help train them based on the ERP Center of Excellence, in addition to the TechFluent training in Business Central that they're going through. Really amazing candidates through TechFluent. Go check it out. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me or Liz McGlennon, and happy to connect you with the organization and the candidates. And on Friday, Viernes, good morning, buenos dias. I have the live stream, and I have coming up in 18 minutes the morning ERP Center of Excellence training with Jocelyn. And we are going to, I'm not going to spoil the fun. We are going to work on, what is it? Exercises for table information and BC Admin Center. And David and Jocelyn are going to be hardcore experts on all of these topics. And so it is just lesson after lesson. I created, as I'll show you, exercises on how to do all these Business Central exercises. Christian asks, related note, or random note, did you have any customers affected by the Windows Update BitLocker glitch this week? No, thankfully, I'm not aware of it. Obviously, we first had the CrowdStrike issue, which was a blue screen. Pretty rough. That was last week, I believe. This week, I'm trying to find it, but this week there was I believe what Christian is referring to is there was a Windows 11 update, I believe, that rolled out, and it caused the Windows machine to ask for the BitLocker recovery key. And once you enter that key, things would progress. But if you didn't have that key, you were in trouble. And I don't know if there's a recovery process, but Microsoft is aware of it. Last I checked, there was no resolution, but that was less than a day after it was announced. But come on, folks. So now I am going around to all my laptops and desktops and checking that I do not have BitLocker enabled. I don't think I need it. I don't know that I care about it. And let me just see. I don't think I'm exposing anything top secret. So you just search for BitLocker, and it goes to Control Panel, System and Security, BitLocker Drive Encryption. I have BitLocker off. I will need to research it, see if there's really any value to having it. The chance of my physical hard drive and laptop being stolen and the data, someone trying to intentionally access my data in order to compromise it, is extraordinarily low. Think about risk models, folks. And encrypting my drive is literally one of my last concerns. It is far more likely, and I'm sure someone's going to argue with me, but it is far more likely that my data on OneDrive is going to be compromised. And if you say that's unlikely, Microsoft 365 was fully compromised by a nation state. They accessed the accounts of US government employees due to a unbelievably obscure key or token flaw in Microsoft's implementation in the Azure or Microsoft 365 platform. And my files are on OneDrive. Why hit my hard drive if my files are on OneDrive? Just go for the honeypot, right? So I have very little concern of drive encryption as one of my threat models personally. If I lose my laptop, okay, it happens. Someone's going to just steal it and wipe it and use my laptop. They're not looking to steal my data. If a nation state really wants my data, far easier ways to get it than trying to get my hard drive. So I am not aware of anyone personally directly affected by that, but I am now going around to all of my computers and checking whether BitLocker is enabled. I have had it on one computer in the past, but yeah, so far nothing. And I do know someone who was affected by CrowdStrike. Their organization, very large organization, multinational, they were affected internally and they had customers affected, but apparently they recovered. Delta Airlines had a rough day though. And then let's see, I have a call with Jocelyn to continue the training, BC exercises, and I will be working on BC Admin Center exercises. So that'll be next. And I have another Spanish class today. So yes, buenos dias. And excellence update. I am now, did a lot of presentation style training with slide decks and that type of thing. I am now moving on to hands-on exercises. And Jocelyn and David are like, finally, Steve, stop talking. We want to do hands-on stuff. So this is an example of a 6-page document, goes into excruciating detail on how to identify tables and fields and understand what that data looks like in Business Central. So they're using Tell Me Search, page inspection, table information to drill in, around, left, right, up and down to understand where to find data in Business Central. And this is a common exercise that I have to do, my developer has to do, our consultants have to do, to find source tables where data is stored. So if you're looking at a list page, a transaction page, a document page, a card page, where is this data coming from? Can we see additional fields? How do we add a field? Do we have a page extension? If I want to do a Power BI report or an RDLC report, a word layout, and add fields, what field am I looking to add? Things like that. Configuration packages, really? That's based off of tables and what fields you need. And Power BI reports, we often come into this. Per tenant customization design. You need to tell the developer which table, which fields you want, or how you want to interact with those fields. Custom API design, just did that with the General Ledger Entries Custom Web API. Developer says, great, you want a custom API? Which fields? So you need to understand how to get down to the table level, identify all of the fields that you want, what's the data type, stuff like that. So that's what this exercise was about. And I actually discovered some features that I was completely unaware of. Really fascinating to do these exercises. And I've always said that when you teach, you end up learning a lot in the process. So as a result of doing these exercises, I believe David and Jocelyn will know more than other people on our team. We found a few hidden gems in this process related to tables that really fascinating. So it's been great. So BC Admin Center is next. And I think there is just a negligent lack of training and study of BC Admin Center among admins, among partners, among consultants. I've had calls with partners and I'm like, why aren't you using this feature? And they say, what feature? They are completely unaware of Admin Center features. A partner has argued with us, telling us that you cannot schedule updates in Business Central. Like literally a partner is telling us that that is not possible. And there's no way for them to control the release schedule of their Business Central updates to their customer. really just bizarre things that any partner should know, but there is a massive gaping hole in the training and skills gap, skills of many, many partners and consultants. And even if some people in the partner team, consultants, know this information, maybe there's a new hire and they just didn't take the time to formally train their consultants. So this is these exercises are going to bring the ERP Center of Excellence candidates up to top. I always say that my goal is world-class training of Business Central. So that is what I am looking to achieve. And Q&A. Post a comment, say hello, ask a question, tell me what you're working on Business Central. And in the meantime, this is something that Tanya just posted, I think yesterday. She discovered this bizarre thing. And, you know, Business Central rolls out the next minor updates on a regular basis, and there are even releases throughout the month, unfortunately. And we're working along and something worked, and the next week it's like, what just happened to this page, this feature, this transaction, this action, this procedure, this routine, this posting, whatever? Something changes and we're like, what is going on? And this is an example where she researched this for a customer. It appears that a general journal with the same date and document number got posted twice. So the general ledger has duplicate data. And I don't know if you can see that. We see JE00006 and CK. These numbers are duplicated. Same date, different entry numbers. And like the entry numbers aren't close. So that's kind of strange. And it's like, what is going on here? You don't want to see this in a financial accounting system or ERP system. So we don't know if this is a bug or if the customer did something odd. If this is, it could be an ISV solution, a third-party solution. Okay, Eric says, Tanya, check the system created fields. Okay, thanks, Eric. Let me just do a live stream. Where is Teams here? Let me do a little, thank you, Eric. Let me just paste this in here and I will send this to Miss Henderson. So yeah, just really strange what some of the things that are going on. And yeah, so we are seeing some weird behavior on the banking page. We're seeing some weird issues with receivables applications. So not quite sure what is going on. Okay. And what else? I am almost done. Eric posted a comment about what he is working on. And he is working on a vector-based, hold up. I can't see what I'm streaming here. A vector-based search table for context searching in the project module. I can say those words. I don't know what that means. So be on the lookout for a video from Eric describing, I don't know if this is going to be a public project or something he's working on, but I'll bet he could share a video at least. It's cryptic. Yes. Maybe he's going to have a teaser video talking about his vector-based search table for context searching in the project module. That will be interesting. Yeah, vector-based. That sounds almost like LLM style territory, but yeah, interesting. Okay, cool. Well, hey, I have to get on a call with El Salvador to learn about Business Central. So what are you working on? Pick something to learn. And yeah, Christian, must be some rocket science. I agree, over my pay grade. Go learn something, pick a topic, and just pick a page in Business Central and explore. I think you'll be shocked at the things you discover that you have overlooked on a daily basis. Table information, that's a sleeper, okay? If you really dig into the table information page, you will discover some things that you're like, whoa, I did not know that was possible. And also BC Admin Center. If you do not know every single menu, option, button, feature, click, action in BC Admin Center, if you are a partner, you are in trouble. You really should know that BC Admin Center functionality inside and out, left and right in your sleep. And so if you do not, go check it out, and I guarantee you will find something you were not aware of. And with that, gosh, I forgot the Spanish phrase, but let's see, what's a good Spanish phrase? Hasta luego. There we go. I will see you later. Have a good weekend. El fin de semana, and adios.
Good morning, life. Good morning, sun.